Hey everybody, it's Kayla from Kayla Crochet Love, and just wanted to come on here real quick. As I mentioned in my episode, I was thinking of doing the 10 non-yarny things about me. I wasn't tagged, but I figured it would be fun to do anyway, so let you guys know a little bit about me, some of my weird little quirks, and then just some interesting things about me, I guess, or that I think might be interesting. And it's actually surprisingly difficult to think of 10 non-yarn related things to share with you guys. I had a little bit of trouble, but I thought of some. Okay, here we go. So number one, I love animals. I'm the kind of person who thinks pretty much every single animal is cute. You could bring me a snake and I would look at the face and think it's cute. Actually, we used to own hairless guinea pigs. They're also called skinny pigs, and a lot of people think they're ugly, but they are one of my favorite animals. They are so cute and they have the greatest personalities. We have 5 pets, me and my husband. We have 2 dogs, a cat, and 2 guinea pigs. The guinea pigs we have are just regular guinea pigs. We did have 2 gerbils, but we lost them about a month or 2 ago. Unfortunately, they were old though. They were about 4 years old, so that's quite a long life for gerbils. And then my parents who live upstairs, they have a dog and 2 cats. One of which is actually kind of my cat, but he just stays upstairs. So yeah, I love animals. Again, like, a lot of people might think some of them are ugly, but I think most cats are, sorry, my husband's outside talking to the dog. I think most animals are cute. Pretty much all of them, even ones that people think are ugly. The only thing that sometimes freak me out are sea creatures. But even then, I think most of them are pretty cute. Anyways, enough about that. Number 2, I've had glasses since I was in the 3rd grade. And it's actually kind of interesting how we came to find out I needed glasses. I was not doing good in school. I was doing very bad in school, and I always had headaches, and my parents couldn't figure out why. And I was always reading like this, so I'd be like this close reading. So it was time, because as kids we would go to the eye doctor once a year. So it was time for my annual eye exam, and I did horrible. My mom and brother were actually in the room while the exam was going on, and my brother was laughing at me because I needed glasses because I did not read anything off properly. And honestly, when I found out I needed glasses, I was so upset. I did not want glasses, and I was crying, and I did not want them at all. So we went to see my cousin at work, and she, I guess, made me feel better because she always said she wished she had glasses, and her coworker was saying, yeah, I wish I had glasses too. So it made me feel better, but I only wore them when I was reading. The doctor said I could wear them all the time, but I didn't have to. So I only read them once in a while because I had like little Harry Potter round pink glasses. So I only really wore them at school and to do homework. Up until about grade 7, when I got nice new glasses, I started wearing them all the time because it just became too much. It just came easier, and my eyesight kind of decreased a little bit. I wasn't seeing as well. So yeah, I've been wearing glasses since 3rd grade. Number 3, je peux parler français. So I speak French. I actually grew up and I was in French school up until college, so I'm fluent in French. My grandfather was pretty much born and raised in Quebec, I'm pretty sure. But we're from there's French communities all around us, and yeah, I went to French elementary school and French high school. I could have went to French college, but it was I would have had to stay on residence, and I didn't want to do that, so I just went to an English college. I can speak it fluently. I can read French, but don't ask me to write anything in French, because the grammar is, I find, was one of the hardest things for me in school. Other than math, but like writing in French, I was never good at it. So, yeah, I grew up French, and I use French every day at work. So it's pretty cool. I love knowing another language. It got me a lot of opportunities with work and everything. So I was really happy with that. I'm gonna just say this one. So speaking of college, I am actually a certified personal support worker. I'm just gonna mark that up. I'm a certified personal support worker. I took a program in college, the only college program I took, and it was for a personal support worker. That's what my mom does as a living. And I only worked in the field for probably about 7 months, and I couldn't handle it. And it wasn't that I wasn't like, because you have to do some dirty jobs as a personal support worker. That didn't bother me. It was helping elderly people and seeing them pass away. I couldn't handle that. Especially when you get really close to them, they almost become family, and then you lose them. It was just too much for me. So I ended up quitting, and I work customer service again. And I really don't mind customer service at all. Some days are better than others, but it's easier than being a personal support worker. Anyone out there who's a personal support worker or caregiver, I look up to you, because I know it's not easy and it is difficult. So I definitely give you a high five. So number 4, this is just a random little one. I collect stuffed animals. Not like just I won't just randomly buy stuffed animals or whatnot, but it's ones that have meaning, and I have a shelf in my living room that's full of them. So the only ones I keep are ones that are gifted to me so my husband, if ever I'm going through a really hard time, my husband will often surprise me with a little stuffed animal. He tends to buy me those Beanie Boos. They're like Beanie Babies, but they have the big eyes. So I have some of those. I have one that he won me from one of those claw machines. I have 2 of those. He won me a little one and a bigger one. I have a cat that I bought with my own money when I was in grade 2. And I have a few others that I've had since I was probably about 3 years old. Those are the only ones I keep. I don't tend to just buy them. I don't really get them as gifts a lot, but I do keep the ones I do receive as gifts. I don't know why, I just always have. So yeah, I like stuffed animals. I keep stuffed animals. I guess that would be number 6. Yeah, sorry, I have a paper here, so I'm just kind of going out of order now. And okay, good enough. We'll figure it out. I have never traveled outside of my province. So I live in Ontario, Canada, and I've never traveled outside of Ontario. I've been to Niagara Falls, and I could see the States from the one hotel we were in, and that was it. I have never actually physically been out of Ontario. And it's not that I don't want to go out of Ontario, it's just the thought of traveling sometimes makes me nervous and I'd love to see other parts of Canada. Like out in Alberta, go out west and whatnot. couple other places I might like to go, but I'm quite content where I am. Kind of freaks me out a little bit to think about traveling, but one day when I get more comfortable, my husband and I would like to take a trip somewhere. So yeah, I've never been out of Ontario. A little fun fact. A lot of people don't believe that one, but it's true. I'm not going to say the numbers because I forget what number I'm at, so I'm just going to keep going. Another fun little tidbit. I really love fairies and dragons. Growing up, I used to be really into drawing too, and I used to draw fairies. That's what I drew, was fairies. And since meeting my husband, he's really into, he's into like Pokemon and stuff. And there's some pretty cool dragons that are Pokemon, and he just thinks dragons look cool. We're really into like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, and Harry Potter and whatnot, so we think that the dragons and the fairies are pretty cool. And actually our wedding reception, the room was filled with dragons and fairies, and I still have one in my living room. So it's just something we both think are pretty cool. So, along with my yarn and crochet hobbies, I also really like to sing, and I play piano and guitar. I play a little bit of ukulele. I used to play trombone in high school, which I did not enjoy at all. And I've attempted violin and mandolin, but it hasn't worked out. But piano and guitar, I like to play. I haven't played them in a little while though. But, and I like to sing. I used to compete in singing competitions when I was younger as well. And not often. I did it a few years, and I did duets with one of my old friends, and we took home a medal every time, I believe. So yeah, it was fun. It was stressful though. Being little, when you lost, you didn't really like it. The one time I was so sick and I decided I still wanted to compete, and my mom, I think my parents recorded it, and my voice cracked through the whole thing, and I was so upset. But I wanted to compete, so my parents didn't say anything about it. But I used to perform in talent shows at school. I used to actually bring my guitar to school and play and sing in the hallways, and people would kind of gather around and we'd kind of have like a little jam session. My guidance counselor in school actually wanted me to pursue a career in music, but it's something I like to do, and if I'm told to do something or I'm pushed to do something, I don't like doing it as much. So I was also in choir from grade 3 to grade 8, and I loved choir. I just loved it. And my choir instructor, she was our music teacher in elementary school. She was amazing. She was like, she was really good. And she was the one who got us practicing for our competitions too. So yeah, music used to be a big thing. So, and my husband likes to play. He plays bass and a little bit of guitar, and he wants to get into drums. So we'll see about that. Maybe get our own little 2-person band going. Speaking of my husband, this one's just gonna sound a little bit corny, but I have the biggest crush on my husband. Like, I know people be like, well, you're married. What do you mean you have a crush on him? I just explained it in the way you remember when you were younger having a big crush on somebody, or even now, you see them and your heart just kind of flutters and you get butterflies and you just really would like to be with them. That's how I feel about my husband. Sometimes he'll just be sitting on the computer and I'll look at him and my heart flutters. And I know it's really corny, but I don't know. We've been together for 7 years. We've been married for just over a year. And yeah, he's my first love, and I'm hoping he's my last love. So, and I think this is the last one I have written down. This one's a big one. I am type 1 diabetic. So I don't know if you've ever noticed, I have a tattoo on my arm, and it's a medical alert tattoo. I think I've always worn sweaters on here, but so there are two different types of diabetes. There's type 1, which is what I have, where your pancreas does not produce the insulin hormone, which controls your body's blood sugar levels. And there's type 2, where your pancreas just kind of slows down. Sometimes it stops completely. People have to be on the proper medications, but it really depends on the person. There's no good type or bad type. They're both not fun at all. I was diagnosed when I was 17, and it's been a big change in my life. I met my husband shortly after being diagnosed, actually, so he's been with me the whole time. So with type 1 diabetes, you have to take insulin injections. So I had to learn how to give myself needles, and I had to do finger pokes multiple times a day, at least 6 times a day. And trying to get my blood sugar under control. But now, what side is it on? You might have noticed in some of my episodes when I stand up, I have an insulin pump. So this is my insulin pump. So there's this little tube. It's connected right to my stomach or my leg, wherever. It goes into your fatty tissues, and it delivers insulin 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The only time I don't get any is when I take showers. I take it off, but it's a great device, and it's really helped control my blood sugar levels. One thing too about diabetes type 1, and type 2 sometimes, it is not caused by diet. It is not caused by your lifestyle. Type 2 can sometimes be, but you could be healthy and still get diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. But with type 1, it develops. So some kids are as little as, I think I read somewhere their child was 3 months old when they were diagnosed. I was 17 when I was diagnosed. So it develops over time. It's hard to explain. And I could go on and on about it, but it's a lot to learn. I was in the hospital for 3 days, learning how to give myself injections. And a lot of people don't like to talk about their diabetes, but I'm very open about it because I think it's something that's good for people to know. That way, if you see someone, or if you meet someone with diabetes, you understand a little bit better, and there's no stigma around it being unhealthy. Like one thing I don't like to see, and I'm getting better, but there's a lot of people that make jokes about diabetes being related to obesity and whatnot, and it bothers some of us in the community. I've talked to others about it, and it does bother them, but I'm just learning to get over it. And even now, some people, they don't understand. Some of my coworkers, they'll tease and say, "Oh, well, if you really want, it'll be like a sugary drink. Oh, that'll give you diabetes or whatnot." No, that's not how it works. But if you want more information, there's lots out there. Just make sure they're good. You can go to Canadian Diabetes Association. I think there's the American Diabetes Association too. There's there's a lot of stuff out there. So, but yeah, diabetes is a big part of my life, so I thought you guys should know about it. And I think that's it. that's all my 10. I'm sure I could keep going on about a lot of that stuff, but I don't want to bore you guys, so I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.